All right. I think it's working. Yeah. Just got on a second ago and they just shut me down and now we're back. Ugh, these things happen. So, welcome. Today is day 12 and we are starting a week of favor. A week of favor. So, if that's a subject that interests you, and it should, and for all kinds of reasons we're going to discuss today, and you love favor, but you would like to be immersed and even deepen your understanding of favor, the more favor we appropriate, the more we see life as from a favored lens, right? The more favor we experience. And we need favor for all kinds of reasons. So if you're watching the replay, say replay so I can send you a little love. All righty. And hang on a second. Got some people on. We'll start the content at 5 after, 5 minutes in. Okay? All right. Hello, Rose, and hi, Diana. Two lovely ladies. Good to see you. You guys like favor? Do you like the topic of favor? And can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Hopefully, we won't have any technical difficulties today. We had a whole bunch the other day. Yeah. Just for those of you who are here, oh yeah, she says. Just for those of you who are here, today we are going to talk more deeply about what favor is and what it isn't. All right. Uh, as we get into it, we'll talk more about how favor heals our wounds and cures our any experiences of shame or guilt that we have. All right. It's very, very powerful. And I know you ladies who are already on this know that. Hey, Kim, good to see you. Yeah. All right. So you might want to get some paper and pencil, or who uses pencil anymore? Maybe you do. I don't know. But get your journal, get some something to take notes with. All right. A lot of what I'm going to be teaching this week actually came from my book. I'm not sure you can see it in the. All right. Can you see that? Actually, it's a little blurry because of the I have a blurred background. It's called Have I Ever Told You You're My Favorite? It's a book I wrote back in 2010 after my profound experiences for 2 years. For 2 years, God led me deeper and deeper into my understanding of favor. Yeah, that's right. You have it, Diana. You might even want to bring yours out if you want to. If you have the book, you can get it. You can follow along in some places. All right. The book, it was an interesting thing, that book, because I actually tried to write another book for a couple of years prior to that, and I couldn't get it done. But when I decided to write the book on favor, because my experience with favor had been so rich for 2 years, it just flowed out of me. I got it done in 6 weeks. And I tell you, it is the book. I had a lot of favor when I was out speaking and presenting this book. It opened all kinds of doors for me, which is what favor does, right? And but it's not always what you think. Favor isn't always what you think. Yeah. So what time we got here? Okay, another 45 seconds, and we're going to get started. How's everybody doing with their Christmas activities? We had a birthday yesterday, my daughter's birthday. She was 38 years old, 37 years old. Yeah. And we went out Saturday and we had some festivities on Saturday and yesterday, and it was really fun. Really fun. She's a miracle. Yes, she is. Okay, so it looks like everybody everybody's here who's going to be here for now anyway. All right. So Before I start, I want to ask you guys if you would write down what you think favor is. All right. And whatever you think favor is, what we're going to try to do is expand and deepen that definition. And who do you think favor is for? Don't answer that question. Just what do you think it is? Because I have found that there's a lot of people, and I'm not saying you guys at all, but there's a lot of people who think favor is just for believers, faith-based believers, and it's not. Favor's for everyone. When I was an atheist, I experienced a lot of favor. Didn't know that I was because I didn't attribute anything to God at that time, right? So favor is for everyone, but not everybody sees it, and not everybody sees it consistently. All right, so today, let's talk a little bit about what do I mean when I say favor. Oh, one more thing I want to tell you before that. I just want to address real quickly the issue of doubt. Now, I find sometimes that my faith is really strong. Most of the time, my faith is really strong, and it just keeps getting deeper and wider and bigger as time goes on. And I think if we're experiencing hardship, sometimes we say, I don't even understand. This is so hard. I don't know the lesson I'm supposed to be learning from this. And I want to say to you that if the lesson you're learning is going to take you to a smaller place, a more constricted place, a place where you have less freedom, you're more watchful about, I can't do that. I made that mistake before. I'm not going to do that again. Those lessons are typically not the lessons you're supposed to learn from hardship. The lesson you should learn from hardship that's available to you is, how does God love me more? How do I see love working in my life? How does God's favor show up here, right? And so any of our hardships are meant to take us to a bigger place, a more expanded place, a higher place, all right? So sometimes, though, we get to the place where there's doubt. It can be hard to believe that people can walk on water, or that out of nowhere in the middle of a desert, food is produced and it can feed thousands of people. I believe that, but sometimes it's a little hard to believe that. Or that you throw in a line and you take out a fish and there's a coin enough to pay for your year's taxes, for two people's year's taxes. Or that you strike a rock and water comes out of it, or manna falls from the sky. I mean, really, God has got some incredible examples for us of the supernatural power that he has, and God can do anything. But a lot of times we have doubt. We have doubt about those things. Favor is something that can help us to see more of the fruit of God's work in our life. It is more about the supernatural. Hey, Manuela, good to see you. We're talking about favor. Yeah. So let's look at a couple of definitions. Favor is a byproduct, first of all. It is one of the benefits and blessings of love. God's love, and we've been talking about this for the past 12 days, God's love is proactive. It provides. It acts on your behalf. It's not just nice words that say, way to go, good job, keep going, I believe in you. And all those words are nice. They are. They're nice, and they make us feel accepted and approved of by God and loved by God. And that's all very important, because the energy and the emotion of love is very important for us to moving forward. But love also is proactive. It actually has hands and feet and mouths, and it does things. Okay. So when it says, don't doubt, whoever speaks to a mountain can move that mountain, right? Why? Because when we speak, if we're speaking words of love, love is powerful and it acts on our behalf. And it's one and substance with God himself, who is love, who has also made us love. So I just wanted to set that framework, okay? I don't want us to ever forget that. So favor is a part of, it's one of the blessings of love. Now, we started off the series by talking about Romans 5:17, and it says, he, she, who receives receives an abundance of grace and favor and the free gift of righteousness, which is approval, a not guilty verdict, an approval verdict. All right. That means every day, every moment of every day, no matter what you do. All right. She who receives that will reign as a queen in this life. I am actually processing right now of doing a small group of ruling and reigning as a bold and brave queen, asserting who we are in the kingdom of God and as a force of good, a force for good and influence and finances here on this earth. All right. If that's something that you're interested in, let me know. All right. So we have to dare to believe so we can receive, so we can achieve. And in Ephesians 3:16, everybody knows Ephesians 3:20. Ephesians 3:20 says, by the power at work within us, God is able to do exceedingly abundantly more than we can think, imagine, pray, dream, right? But the verses that come right before it begin with Ephesians 3:16. In Ephesians 3:16, I want to just read that verse to you because it shows how we get started in achieving the impossible. We get started in achieving our wildest dreams through the power of God, which is love. So the prayer is this, that God would unveil, that is a word that we need to think about. Unveil within you the unlimited riches of his glory and favor until supernatural strength floods your innermost being with his divine might and explosive power. So the first step is to allow God to pray for God to unveil within you. This is something, it's a seeing inside of us. Unveil within you the unlimited riches. Don't you love that? The unlimited riches of his glory and favor until supernatural strength floods your innermost being, because that's where the work first starts, here in us, and then flows out of us and into our circumstances, right? Floods your innermost being with his divine might and explosive power. That's from the Passion Version. So those two verses, Romans 5:17 and Ephesians 3:16, are two verses that talk about the favor of God and how the favor of God leads to explosive power. It leads to a life beyond our dreams, abundant life, more than we could even hope for. Okay? All right. Now, I'm not seeing any comments or anything, so can somebody just say, I'm here, so that I know that you're still with me? Sometimes I have discovered that I'm losing people because my internet will be unstable or something. And while you're doing that, I'm going to get the excerpt from my book. Okay, good. So you can hear me just fine. Thank you. All right. So this is from chapter 3, and the question is, so just what is favor exactly? And there is a quote that I think I took from Bill Johnson's, one of his books on dreaming big. He says, I believe the failure to understand and pursue the journey of stewarding the favor of God has led so many people to die in the unnecessary tragedy of never having their God-given dreams and desires fulfilled. So favor is crucial to the fulfillment of our God-given dreams and our deepest desires. Favor is crucial to that. So I said, yes, not having our God-given dreams and desires fulfilled is indeed an unnecessary tragedy, especially since God's favor is active and at work in all of our lives, and he is so willing to increase it. Now, you have to remember that in Luke, I believe it It could be either the first or second chapter. I can't remember offhand. But it says that Jesus increased in wisdom and stature and favor with God and man. So if Jesus had to increase in favor with God and man, not just God, but God and man, why not us? Why do we not need to increase? How much more do we need to increase? And we can increase. So, and it's not just favor with God, but it's favor with God and man, because a lot of times we have favor with God, and it's just a matter of faith and receiving it and letting it work in our lives, right? Proclaiming it. But favor with man is a little trickier sometimes because man's got issues. A lot of times they don't want to extend favor to you because maybe they're jealous, or maybe they think they're taking something away from themselves, and that's a scarcity mentality. There's a lot of different reasons why mankind might not show us favor. But that doesn't mean that we can't increase with favor with people. We can. And that can be a work of God in our lives too. Okay? So I was blind to favor, focusing too much on my fears, inadequacies, and flaws. Have you ever heard the phrase, what we focus on expands? If we focus on the negative, what will expand and operate in our lives? Conversely, if we focus on favor, yeah, you got it. So let's expand in favor by focusing on what it is and what it isn't. First of all, favor does not mean a problem-free life. It doesn't mean nothing bad will ever happen to you. I know this seems obvious, but after discovering the significance of this gift, I mistakenly assumed everything would go well all the time, right? Interestingly, it mostly did. But then one day, as I was preparing for an upcoming women's retreat, I was hit with some very bad news. Not to be daunted, I believe for a favorable outcome of my design. It did not turn out as I thought it should, but led to great confusion and even apprehension on my part. Maybe I got this favor thing wrong. Eventually, things worked out well, but not as I had orchestrated in my mind. So, of course, favor will flow on your behalf, but it may not flow in the specific way that you think it should, but it does flow better than you think. I sought the Lord. As I look back over this month, I realized that the Lord used the challenges associated with the event to raise the question, and this is very important. Will you believe you are favored even if things don't look favorable? Is favor merely random and circumstantial? Or is it a reliable condition of your life from which you are to move? Those are the questions God gave me. Will you believe you are favored even if things don't look favorable? Is favor merely random and circumstantial? Or is it a reliable condition of your life from which you are to move? I sought the Lord for his wisdom during this emotional time, and faithfully he drew my attention to Joseph in the Bible. Joseph was favored by his earthly and heavenly father, given a coat like none other, dreams by God to predict the future, and a pretty cushy life. Joseph was secure in that favor. We know this throughout his story. But he was not without his share of problems. Thrown in a pit by his jealous brothers, picked up by slave traders, falsely accused by his boss's wife, and then imprisoned for 3 years does not sound like favor. But the story doesn't end there. Even in jail, Joseph prospered and ultimately was instrumental in saving the Egyptian civilization as well as the nation of Israel. This account, along with others, broadened my view and deepened my conviction. No matter what, we have favor of God, and from that, if we need it, we will have favor with men. We can only anticipate the good. We are made to be secure in his love and provision. While none of us have trouble-free lives, favor gives all of us the capacity to triumph. When I first started the journey of speaking and attending conferences, and I had this message of favor that, frankly, I was in secular places and marketing seminars. How I ended up there was the favor of God, but I never would have picked it, all right? Because many of those people didn't understand what I was talking about. And some of the Christians that I talked to about it had this very narrow view, and they thought of favor as being elitism or favoritism, which is an ugly cousin. Favoritism is not favor, okay? And they gave me a harder time, actually, than people who didn't believe or didn't know what I was talking about. And so I wanted to talk to the audiences about how favored they were and how God's favor was there for them in their businesses, in their finances, in their fulfillment. Yeah. But it was not an easy crowd. And sometimes I left that feeling like the most unfavored person in the room. And I would go to my room, my hotel room, and I'd cry out to God. And I'm like, why am I here? Why am I here? Nobody gets me. It doesn't seem like anybody wants me. I'm irrelevant. Why am I here? And the Lord just would say, to strengthen your resolve about your favor, to strengthen your resolve. Will you stand in the favor I've given to you despite these reactions? And that's how I got stronger in favor, right? It's repeatedly standing in your favor, in the favor God's given to you, despite what the circumstances or how people are treating you, over and over and over again. So what is favor? Well, this is the dictionary version, all right? And there are Bible versions of the definition, but they're actually pretty similar. So the dictionary version is, number 1, friendly regard shown toward another, especially by a superior. Friendly regard. Approving consideration or attention. Approving consideration or attention. Gracious kindness, an act of kindness. Effort in one's behalf or attention, interest. Effort in one's behalf or interest, attention. A token of love, our small gift. You've gone to parties and they hand out little favors, right? It's a little treat. Or a special privilege or right granted or conceded. So my question is, have you ever been treated with friendly regard? Think of that. Have you ever had somebody give you approving consideration or attention? Or shown you a gracious kindness? Or made an effort on your behalf? Has anybody ever done that? These are favor. This is all favor. And God does all these things for us. Giving you a special treat, a small gift or decorative item, right? Has anybody ever granted you a special privilege or a right? And I know God has given all these things to us, but I want you to think about this just in your life of everyday life. Everyday life. To be someone's favorite doesn't mean you are the only one who will receive special attention, and thus it is unavailable for anyone else. So it's not like I get favor, you don't. All right? There's an unlimited supply. So we never have to worry about taking it away from someone else. I have been accused of being too favored in some circles. I have. What a terrible thing to have, too much favor, right? But it can make other people uncomfortable. It can make them jealous. It can make them feel less than. But that is not about you. That is something they have to work through. It's something that they need to appropriate. If they're feeling jealous of the favor that you have been given, it's only because they're looking at their lives as less than. They feel deficient in some way. But they have the same opportunity as you to seize the favor that they've been given, right? Don't spurn or resist the favor you have because you are afraid of people's reactions. Okay? You'll survive that, and then you have to leave that to God. Don't feel guilty. Do not feel guilty for favor. Do not feel guilty for special privileges. I spent many years feeling guilty. Okay? And partly it was fear. Guilt, I said, leads to this mindset of fear of punishment, right? And the punishment could be rejection by somebody else who thinks you're too favored. Hope that makes sense to you guys. This is often the objection to favor. I win, you lose, or you get it and I don't. Rather, to be a favorite means that one is treated or regarded with special favor or liking, a person who is especially loved, trusted, or provided with favors by someone of high rank or authority. There's somebody who can do something in your life to help you in some way. Especially loved does not of necessity mean exclusively loved. Excuse me. So now with a more expanded view of favor, consider, have there ever been times when you have had someone's approval or they gave you a special privilege or gracious kindness? If after thinking of it, you still think not, then may I encourage you to find out why. I dare say there are benefits operating in you, beliefs operating in you that need to be changed. Yeah, that need to be changed. If you're just joining us, we're talking about favor, what it is, what it isn't. And today we're only going to tackle the beginning of what it is. We can never have too much favor, and we can never have too deep of an understanding of favor. All right? So whatever understanding you have of favor right now, open your heart and your mind to expand it. Open your heart and your mind to expand that, okay? So just for today, I just wanted to open up the conversation, get the ball rolling as far as what I mean when we talk about favor, taken from my 2 years of studying it and living it out ever since then. Like I said, I started studying this back until 2007 and 8. I wrote the book in 2010. And for the last 12 years, I have experienced a great deal of favor in the business world. And it's probably why I do less work and make more money, because favor is operating, and I like it that way. So ask the Lord to jog your memory. If you're having a hard time remembering times of favor, the more favor you remember in your life, the more favor it's going to operate and flow freely. The more favor you're going to receive and the less you're going to resist. So think of a time when someone in a superior position, it could be at school or work, in a relationship, showed you friendly regard. Has anyone ever approved of what you did? Think of you with approval or give you attention because they approved of you. You know, when I met my husband, I was single, and I had basically sworn off men for a while. I had had one failed relationship after another, including a marriage. And then I had this massive encounter with God and his love, and it changed everything. And I decided, you know what? I don't care about guys right now. I just want to deepen my faith and my love exchange between God and I. I didn't know hardly any Bible. In fact, when I read it, it kind of sounded like mumbo jumbo to me. I didn't go to church very often, rarely, actually. And it was mostly just me and God. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to develop my relationship with God as love. Not God as a finger-wagging, demanding, critical father, right? God as love. So as I was doing that, lo and behold, who crosses my path was my husband. And as soon as I laid eyes on him, I thought, oh my gosh, he's gorgeous. He's got something. He had this special thing, right? But he was an atheist. And I thought, ain't going down that road. And then we went on a date, and I thought, all right, I'm done for. I'm crazy about this guy. So I said to the Lord, because I knew I had favor with him, even before I understood the word, all right? I said, this relationship, I have never had anything like this before, and I am sunk here. There is no way I can't have a relationship with this man. And we are already talking about we were the one for each other. And I said, you know what? As time goes on, if he never becomes a believer, you're going to have to fix that for me. That's what I said to the Lord. You're going to have to fix that for me. If I want to grow in my faith, and I can't let him obstruct it. So you're going to have to help me with that. All right. Well, as God would have it, that man became a believer within 6 months. No, 7, 8, 9 months, sometime within the year. And it was one of those moments where he was knocked down, dragged out, taken down by his knees, snot rolling down his face, tears rolling down his eyes because of love. He had had an encounter with love. So both of us had our first encounters with God, was God as love that filled our whole being. And the thing about him was, in every other relationship I was in, the guy always had some problem with me. You name it, he had a problem with me. He found me irritating about this, annoying about that. So I was very chameleon-like. I was always trying to change myself so that I wouldn't get rejected. I was always trying to do tons of things in the relationship so that they'd never leave me. I had abandonment issues. I had worth issues. I looked really strong on the outside, but really that's what was going on the inside. But my husband didn't look at me as a person that had all these irritations, that he had all these flaws and all these, he didn't look at me that way. In fact, the things that irritated and annoyed others were things he found to be delightful. He found them to be strengths. And to this day, we're almost on 38 years of marriage. He is still that way. So yeah, God fixed it. So relax, ladies. If you're still looking for your husband to, to come around or to find the man of your dreams, God can fix it. Yeah. Favor. That's right, Diana. You and I have talked a little bit about that too. Yeah. Sometimes we're looking to check all the boxes, and I believe that we need to be specific about what we're looking for. I think favor flows in the direction of what we're looking for, right? Though it has some hidden surprises as well. Favor has some major, major hidden surprises, some really cool, beyond your dreams kind of stuff, right? So when we just think, though, in terms of the checked box and we get this rigidity, on the other hand, is like anything goes, I'll take anything. I don't care, I'll just take anything. You don't want that either, all right? You don't want that either. So, but when it comes to the checking off the boxes, my husband basically didn't check off any of those boxes. Almost everything I was looking for, he didn't have, or he had something else instead. And I'll tell you, that was the better deal. Who he was way better than my list. Yes, way better than my list. Sometimes I think I should do a program on helping women find the man of their dreams. But I've been so out of the dating world for so many years. But the principles of favor and self-worth are still valid, aren't they? Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. Anyway, comments before we quit for the day. Tomorrow we're going to talk some more. We're going to expand our idea of favor even more deeply and help you tap into favor at an even higher level, a more energetically exciting level. Okay? All right. Thank you, Anna. Oh, you didn't. We are a lovely couple. I will agree with you. We are a lovely couple. Manuela, you're on that path. You mean to finding the love of your life? Is that what you mean? Kim says, we think we know what's best for us. Yes. We want to present to God our deepest desires and have an expectation that He's going to fulfill them. All right. That you're going to fulfill them together, actually, because you guys are one. You and God are inseparable, right? But if you don't get what you're looking for, just know there's something better. It's something better that God has in store for you, and you're probably thinking too small. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. Well, if you're watching the replay and you have any reactions to this, love to have your comments. They help me to know where to go also and what to address as we go further into the study on favor. Hey, Neil, good to see you. Yes, Neil always shows up. He's a sweetheart of a guy. Even though we talk a lot about being queens, he's such a female supporter. He's a great guy. All right, so this is going to be a great replay. That's right, Anna. I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow with more favor. Okay? Adios.